What's going on, everybody? Louie T here from Because Bitcoin, and today we are talking about Bitcoin. Yes, you read the thumbnail correctly. Bitcoin to 84K before September. I don't normally do price predictions like that, but feeling pretty good about it. Worst comes to worst, I'm wrong and I delete this video. Before we do that, I need you to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications if you haven't already. Check out the links down below. BB Discord, the #1 trading community in crypto, and BB Trader X, automated trading strategies at your fingertips. Follow proven strategies or create your own using our proprietary AI strategy wizard. But all right, guys, let's dive into it. Let's take a look at the charts, and let's look as to why Crazy Louie thinks Bitcoin can go to 84K in just about a month and a half's time. Because I know I'm going to get some hate for this video, and that's okay. I'm used to that. I get it anyways, right? So why not put it out there in the world, right? Why not? So let's just look at Bitcoin, guys. I've done videos on a lot of this stuff in the past. I'm going to kind of just do a compiled version of it where we're going to cover weekly all the way down to the lower time frames, right? Top-down approach, and see everything I'm looking at here. So, a few of the key factors on the weekly time frame I am considering and that I've talked about in previous videos is that, one, our weekly RSI is fully reset, right? Our weekly RSI has gone from overbought levels back down to oversold levels. And historically, every single time the weekly RSI gets fully reset, that does in fact mark the bottom for the Bitcoin bear market low, or the general area of the bottom, right? So happened in 2022, right? Weekly RSI reset. You were about 5% off from the low, and you only took about 2 to 3 months before the Bitcoin decided to accelerate off the lows. Same thing in 2018. Bitcoin weekly RSI reset, marked the absolute bottom for Bitcoin bear market in 2018 before accelerating off the lows. And this also goes back to the 2015 bear market as well. We don't have to touch on that, but that is the main key factor that I've been talking about on this channel since February, since we made this final capitulation down into 60K and we got the weekly RSI reset. I've been pounding the table that, hey, we could trade around this area for a while. We could sweep the lows a bit, just like we did back here in 2022. But this is a historical key signal that the bear market bottom is close to being in at a minimum, right? So we have that going for us. We also have a weekly bullish divergence printing here, right? Where we made a low back here in February, and then we made a lower low in price, right? We swept our lows at 60K. I think we actually ended up tagging 57.7K. And we made a lower low on price, but we made a higher low on the weekly RSI. That is called a bullish divergence, right? Where the RSI, the relative strength index, is making a higher high, painting a different picture of strength, while price is making a lower low. Usually, when you get a divergence like this, it's a potential bottom signal, right? And signaling a potential squeeze to the upside and a mismatch in the price action versus what's going on under the hood, right? Last time we saw a weekly bullish divergence just like this was, in fact, at the bottom of the 2022 bear market lows, right? And this is something that should not be faded, right? This is not an hourly, 4-hour, even daily time frame. This is a weekly time frame setup. These lead to large moves. These do not happen by accident, and they are powerful signals, right? Another factor you should not be fading as far as being bullish on Bitcoin down here. We're also trading into the largest demand level on the chart, guys. There's no denying that. This blue zone I have drawn out, we have our 2021 double top, and we have this 9-month consolidation. This is the largest demand level on the chart until you pretty much get back down to like 30K, right? So we're doing all these things. We're seeing all these signals as we're trading into major support after a multi-month downtrend. You know, the idea to start looking for a potential reversal and potential upside, or at least just simply starting to accumulate, is not so far-fetched as to what people online would make you believe. So that's another factor here on the weekly time frame. Last but not least, we have a weekly bullish engulfing candle that we printed just 3 weeks ago. Right, we traded into 58K. We swept our low here. Was a must-hold level. I did a video on this called Bitcoin and Ethereum Do or Die Level. I made it was a 2-part series where I was saying like Bitcoin needed to hold 58K, could not drop any lower, or things get really, really ugly. We, in fact, the week after, we fully engulfed the downside price action the following week with upside price action, and that's visualized in this weekly candle where the week before we came down and the week after we went right back up and erased all of the previous week's downwards price action. That is a bullish reversal signal as well. It's called a weekly bullish engulf candle or any time frame, but this happened to be on the weekly. And again, because it's on the weekly and because it happened at the absolute low of this must-hold demand level, gives it that much more significance for reversal possibilities, in my opinion. So these are all factors I am watching on the weekly time frame. I've been talking about these for months. A lot of these things, some more recently, but a lot of these things have occurred and I've been talking about for the last few months. And you know, this bullish divergence looks to be playing out here, right? And as long as 58K can be respected as a low, I'm looking for higher prices at a minimum. Let's dive into the daily time frame now. Daily time frame, we are viewing this as a range. Very, very simple, right? Prices has been ranging and potentially reaccumulating for the last several months. And we had lost our well-defined range back in June, right? But we have since reclaimed that range, right? So we lost our range low. We got back inside our range. And we have now traded the last 3 weeks back inside our range and holding it with daily candle body closes. So we got back inside our range. And for pretty much the entire month of July, we have been respecting range lows. We have been chopping in here for sure for 3 weeks straight. But what remains constant is the respect for range lows, closing inside of range lows. And as I've been telling the Discord guys, the longer we remain and continue to close the day, these daily candles inside range lows, the more likely we're going to get a setup that we saw at range highs, right? Which was a deviation. You got above the range. You got back inside the range. You held it for a few weeks without getting back above range highs. And then we saw a swift drop back down inside the range. In this case, we went from range highs to range lows in just a week's time. We went straight down for about a week. Pretty crazy. But the longer we hold inside this range, the more likely we are going to continue to play this as a range, and price is going to continue to respect this as a range. And 3 weeks is more than enough price acceptance back inside this range. And now we are starting to see price accelerate and push away from range lows after this price acceptance. So where am I getting this 84K number? Well, plainly put, as range lows are holding, right? And as long, our first local target here Obviously, we're at resistance right now, right? 66, 67K, big resistance, right? But you break 66, 67K, this white zone, 72K, next major level to be watching for a target. That is our range, mid-range. And if price can get above there, right? Sure, we could see some resistance here, but if price can get back above the mid-range, I'm looking for a pushback into range highs, and at that point, likely the highs of this deviation, which puts price around 83K, right? And I think I made the video 84K to make it sound a little better. But you also have the reasoning where our next set of supply and market structure above us starts at like 84K, right? So this area, I'll draw a box here, make this look a little better. But from where we deviated the range high and our next set of market structure sitting above us, if we can break out of this range successfully, or at minimum, just go back to range highs, right? Just simply going from range lows to range highs, nothing out of the ordinary. We could see that target in the thumbnail of this video of 84K Bitcoin. So we're seeing great stuff here today over the last few weeks. We still have a little work to do, but the nature in which price has been coiling and chopping in this area, makes me lean towards the fact that the move up back inside the range is going to be a big one and a fast one. Very similar to what we saw here, where we literally dropped from range low. We dropped from 78K down to 60K in about a week, right? So the nature of the super pent up coiling of price here at range lows, this should lead to an accelerated move back inside the range at a minimum, right? So again, maybe by September, right? I understand it's a little bit of a reach, but the thing, people forget how fast and vicious Bitcoin can bounce and move off the lows, because it's just been going down for 7-8 months straight. It's been going down and sideways, right? And Bitcoin does that funny thing where it makes people forget how vicious and how strong the up moves can be. So I'm having a little fun with it. I threw a time stamp on there, 84K by September. If it doesn't hit, I really don't care. We're long and strong. We've been accumulating during these reaccumulation phases in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins. So if it hits, great. I'm not going to victory lap it, but it is a possibility that you should be considering, or at a minimum, just consider that, hey, Bitcoin can be bottomed here and can reverse. So that's all I got, guys. Thanks for coming by. Don't forget to check out the links down below, and I'll see you next week.